A to the K.
to the K.
To the K.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to the EC3 Wrestling Show. We're joining us today. You may know him from OVW, the NWA, Ring of Honor, or the hit Netflix series Wrestlers. Certified Luke Kurtis. Luke, thanks so much for joining us, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to talking to you guys for a while, so I'm excited,
Thanks,
man. Yeah, thanks for bringing me on and giving me the opportunity to share some words with the people.
Absolutely.
No, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. So as Carl mentioned, the wrestlers I figured we start right there if we could and sort of dive in on obviously talking about the wrestlers on Netflix and what the process was like for filming and, you know, a bit of a cheeky one. Have you heard anything about maybe a season 2?
Yeah, kind of the process is definitely something I had never been involved with before, because just like something being like so hush hush, but then like there's so many cameras around, and it really is an invasion of privacy in a lot of ways, because they're closer. They bring their closers, which are their cameras, which are way bigger than our cameras, and they put them closer than this webcam is to me right now. You know, so I'll be having a conversation. There would literally be a camera right here. I'm just looking this way so you don't see it. You know, and you're not supposed to really look at those things or acknowledge those things. You're just supposed to be you, be fluid in the moment, and just kind of be real. That's what they want. They want authenticity. You know, originally, like what I had heard, whether it's true or not, I don't know, which it probably is. But originally what I was heard is that they were going to do a documentary on WWE, and they kind of pushed that to the side for a minute to come do it on us, because they thought they'd get more of an authentic experience, because we're all a bunch of starving, struggling wrestlers trying to make it, as opposed to a bunch of people with a bunch of money, you know, in the limelight on television. They already have a big production. If you were a WWE superstar, you could produce your own documentary on your life. You could produce your own vlog. You can afford to produce all of your own content, you know. As an independent guy, I know a lot of us, we're just scrapping together with what we got, trying to make the best thing possible. So I think that's really what they were going for when they came in with the project. They wanted an authentic, you know, representation of people and the wrestling business, but people first and foremost, you know.
Yeah, no, of course. I think it's as you say, it just offers that different perspective, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, definitely. Has there been any talk of a season 2 yet, or are you guys still waiting to kind of
so you know, everybody talks about it, of course. You know, we're still in great contact with the people that, you know, the team that kind of put that together for us. So there's no yes or no, you know, which is a good thing for us, because generally things become no right away. But I think it's just a fluid situation, as the wrestling business is. So I really think it could happen. I think it could not happen. You know, I think it kind of depends on you know, award season's coming up. Let's see if wrestlers gets put in for any nominations, if Greg's team, because at the end of the day, like OVW ourselves, we're not getting nominated for an Emmy. You understand? The team and their work is getting nominated. You know, Greg Whiteley and One Potato Productions, you know, they've won multiple Emmys for their projects before. So it doesn't make it like so far-fetched that wrestlers gets nominated or net wrestlers win something, but at least a nomination, you know, I think that would help push things along. And just it depends, man. I think that they kind of too want to see what we're going to do, you know, and I think that's kind of how things are in life. If you were going to put together a television show, you know, you wouldn't want to come back and film the same thing, right? So they want to see what kind of growth we're going to have as a company, what story they're going to be able to come back and tell. In my mind, they're looking for their next story. I do believe I do personally believe that there will be a season 2 at some point. It's just a matter of when they're ready to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, hopefully, because we absolutely love.
No, and I think it's been so well received generally, hasn't it? Like, even
across
the pond over to here.
Yeah, like, you know, non-wrestling fans like across the globe, everyone just kind of resonated with it. And obviously, you mentioned the authenticity. I don't think there was a more authentic moment in the whole show than obviously your proposal to the lovely Leila Grey. Can you talk to us a little bit? And obviously, congratulations again. But
before we get into the engagement, real quick, and this is kind of like a testament to what we do, wrestlers, in our business. You know, wrestlers on Netflix was very well received. A big thing that Netflix looks at is when somebody starts watching a show, do they finish it? Most people finish wrestlers when they started it. That's an important thing, because that means I want more, right?
Yeah.
All the major news outlets gave wrestlers fantastic reviews. all major media companies, LA Times, New York Times, Washington Post, everybody wrote great things about wrestlers. Great things, good reviews. The problem is that not enough people watched it, and
Right.
and it's funny because like that's on us too, because we're pro wrestling and our business is so greedy and closed off. And this is kind of like what happened with the Apple TV thing. They never got renewed. The Monster Factory, they never got renewed for another season. And it's just not enough wrestlers and wrestling fans pushing wrestling content because they're in their own head about whatever it is. You know what I mean? That they don't want to share wrestling out for the world. And because not enough people watched it, there might not be a season 2, even though everybody said it was great. So, if people in wrestling would just kind of, be more professional and if you wanted to be a wrestler, okay, now I'm gonna start talking shit. So if you want to be a wrestler, if you want to be a wrestler and you want to be a good wrestler that supports the business and works hard and makes something of themselves, like that's the type of people that we need. People that share people's stuff. I don't care what company you work for. If I like you and I like what you do, I'll help promote you. And the business just needs to be more like that. But because it's money first. I know we're all here for the entertainment and the show, and they tell you it's the show first. It's all about the show, but really it's all about the money. Wrestling's always been about the money, bro. So, when it's like that, you run into all kinds of issues, so hopefully whatever continues to come out wrestling, no matter what it is, everybody can support it. I don't think it's going to be that way. That's why we have a huge community on Twitter. Like the wrestling community is so big on Twitter because wrestling fans love to talk shit. Like I'm involved in the bodybuilding world too, and the community is not very big on Twitter. It's massive on Instagram. The fitness industry is huge on Instagram because it's about self-promotion. It's about bettering yourself. It's a lot of pictures, things like that. Twitter is so big because wrestling fans like talking shit so much, and wrestlers alike, and that's just kind of, that's why we got that dirty business reputation, because it's such a dirty business, because a motherfucker that works in it won't even share his coworker's thing because he thinks that he's not going to get over now, when in all reality, it's never been about one wrestler getting over. There's enough plates for everybody to eat. If we all line up as wrestlers, there's enough for everybody. So, that's my wrestling rant. But, the engagement. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. No, I was just curious. Obviously, was it always your intention to kind of propose in the ring? And obviously, how's the wedding planning coming?
It wasn't always my intention to do it in the ring. It was always my intention to do it, obviously. We had already spoke about that for a while prior to that moment. So it wasn't like, when I'd spoken to Al about it originally, which was just days before, he was like, "Oh, she's gonna say no, kid," just messing with me. But I was like, me and her had already spoke about it. We were on kind of a common ground that, we were gonna get engaged at some point. So that just seemed like the right opportunity for me because I had already been waiting with the ring, getting ready for the opportunity. So I had like an option A, it wouldn't work out. And then I just thought about it, and we had this Nashville show, and I was like, man, we're going down there. It was just a few days before, I went in Al's office and I said, "Hey man, I'm thinking about proposing in the ring, and can I do it?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So that's how that came about. And I'm very glad that's how it happened. It was beautiful to see it on Netflix. It was definitely, my highlight of the show. People are always going to love me because I'm like the ultimate good guy from that moment. Even though I always play the bad guy for the most part, it helps me in the real world because, there is still real world. So the real world people are still like, "Hey man, you're a good guy." And the wrestling people are like, "No, you're not." And I'm like, so I love that about it. So it's good that I was able to, have that big baby face moment. And yeah.
It must be awesome having that moment sort of immortalized in the show as well. It's it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. It still comes up on my social media all the time. All the moments from the show. That's the one I see the most, and it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully they come back, man, and we get to do some really cool stuff.
Fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Damn right.
And the wedding planning is going good. We're planning on getting married international, like a destination wedding. So I don't know, maybe
nice.
the Dominican Republic or something like that early next year. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So jumping back, I suppose, to a little bit back to the beginning. we just ask sort of what made you decide to become a pro wrestler, or how did you get started in the business?
So, I mean, I grew up as an amateur wrestler. I wrestled like pretty much all the way through high school since I was a young man. And pro wrestling was something I was a huge fan of, but when I got into amateur wrestling, they kind of broke me of that. They're like, hey man, that's fake. This is real wrestling. So I was like, okay, so I became a real wrestler, an amateur wrestler. I wrestled up through high school. I kind of, WWE faded away. I was a huge mark when I was a kid, obviously. Like I was a huge Cena fan. I went to Ace Hardware. It's a hardware store by me. I got a big chain put around my neck with a master lock, and I would walk around the house like Thugonomics, all that crap. So yeah, I was a huge fan when I was younger, but they kind of broke me of that when I became an amateur wrestler. I got out of high school. I did a little bit of MMA down in Miami, and then I met Leila. She was a bartender. I was a drinker. I was a mechanic at the time. I used to like to go after work and have a few drinks. I had a pretty messed up life before that. I was like a drug addict. It wasn't always like that. I was like an athlete, and then I was a drug addict, and then I became an athlete again, kind of through wrestling. But I was in a real down point in my life then. And I met her, and she was just a bartender. So she was serving me drinks, and she had aspirations to do like bigger things. And, I was, attracted to that. So, she had mentioned professional wrestling. We had probably been dating for a while now, almost a year. And, we never really spoke about the fact that I was an amateur wrestler, which they do go hand in hand in a way as far as like footwork goes and stuff like that. But, she was like, I want to be a pro wrestler. And I was like, pro wrestling. I was like, that's crazy. Like that, bro. You guys are wrestling fans, so it's different. I wasn't like a wrestling fan at the time.
Yeah.
But could you imagine your wife coming in and being like, I want to be a professional wrestler? You'd be like, what? Or like, I just can't even. There's got to be a parallel comparison somewhere for like a wrestling fan. But imagine your wife coming in and telling you she wants to do something outlandish, or your girlfriend. You'd be like, okay. So I went with it. I was like, sure, and I tell the story all the time, man. The first day I walked out of the training school, me and her started the same day. The first day that I walked out, I looked at her and I said, I'm going to the WWE, bro. Like I knew when I stepped in the ring the first time, and like the way my feet like left impressions in the mat, that I could do this. It felt so comfortable for me. I tell the story all the time because like, I was a wrestler growing up. I was an athlete. That's what I identified as. All my friends knew me as an athlete. I was a great athlete. And then I became an even better drug addict. I became like the best drug addict, bro. You look at old pictures of me, I look terrible. My hair is super long. I'm out of shape. So many things have happened in my life, man, to get back to where I was. And when I took those first steps in the mat, it would help me connect with a younger self. I wasn't on social media for a long time, so I've kind of like a ghost period in my life where even my friends that knew me before, most people don't even know. They only know from me telling these stories. Most people just saw me as an athlete and I disappeared, but then I came right back as an athlete, back in social media. So it was like I returned to like my old self. And I tell people all the time, wrestling is my salvation. I really do believe that. Like without professional wrestling, like I don't know where I'd be at, and I knew where I was without it. And I grew up a wrestler, and then I had life without it. And then I became a pro wrestler, and I was able to get sober through that and like clean my life up and change my physique, my mindset, so many things, man, to where like, I'm winning every day. That's how I feel about it, really. Like this is just the beginning for me. A lot of people see me and maybe they see my work today. Maybe you come across a certified Luke Kurtis match and you think, oh, this guy's pretty good. You get to know me, you watch somewhere, you're like, oh, he's probably not going to get much better. Like I'm going to get way better. Like for me, like I figured out the secret a few years ago to like, not even that long ago, about a year ago, I figured out the secret to how to improve my life day by day by day. And ever since then, I've just been going up and up and up and up. And, that's my goal, man. I have a very, very big aspirations, bigger than most people, because maybe of what I've been through before. Maybe I'm trying to run so far away from it. I'd always heard that's one of the things that the Netflix people were saying about me. They always said like, what's he running from? Because like, I'm always in character, right? I'm always playing a character, but I'm not, I'm just me. And like when I hear that, like, what is he running from? Like, I'm running from homelessness. I'm running from my past life. I'm running from addiction. You understand? So like, I'm like trying to propel myself into greatness and And that's my goal. And that's always going to be my goal, whether it's in wrestling, acting, modeling, bodybuilding, like so many things are going to happen. And I hope that I really hope, because I grew up as a wrestler and I love wrestling. Like, I'm a wrestler, dude. Like, we get on the mat, we take our shirts off right now. At the end of the day, we want to wrestle. I'm a wrestler, bro. I don't got to call shit. We get in there and we can wrestle, dude. So like, I'm a wrestler, man. So I would love to be able to like show my craft to the world. Like, that's why I love WWE, AEW. I love the AEW too. I would love just to be able to show my craft to as many people as possible. Because the more wrestling fans that connect with me, and the more people that connect with me, the more people that will have the opportunity to maybe somehow become a part of my life, and I can help change your life, and you can follow me, and you can see where I've come from and where I've been and what I've been through and where I'm going. And it's anybody can do that, So like, I hope to like be a beacon of inspiration to people and kind of just be somebody one day, and that's what I'm working for. Those are my goals. So we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see.
Awesome.
I mean, you mentioned kind of like the Netflix crew and stuff, kind of thinking that you were always in character, but it's kind of just yourself, I guess. But like, what does it mean to be certified?
Yeah, to be certified is, it's just a representation of who you are. Like, when I look at my personal life, I always say, like, because I'm able to be who I am without the big backing of a company, without the big production, like, I'm able to create a superstar. And I am a superstar. When I walk through in my daily life, if you see me, you will know that I am a superstar. I behave like one, and there's just so many things that go into being who I am. And why I love certified is because you can't define it. Like, I define it. It's similar to like the nature boy. Like, what the fuck is the nature boy?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, very
it's
true.
Flair. That's who it is. It's Landell. Like, they're the nature boy. Like, they define it. People I've come across people in this business that don't like what I do because certified is so vague. They're like, why are you not an attorney or a clown or a car driver or whatever gimmick you could be in professional wrestling? And I like that I define what certified is. It gives me the option to go out there and do whatever I need to do to get the people off of their goddamn chairs and wave their arms in the air so they can have a good time. That's what being certified is all about. So, it's bringing my authentic brand to the people. That's really who I'm trying to be. Always. It's always got to be an authentic experience, man. If you're rehearsing it, if you're, you got to come up with it on the fly, man. That's what it is. That's what being an entertainer is. Like, they talk about so much in wrestling, the in-betweens, maybe you've heard that word before. The in-betweens, that's what makes you a star. When you're if you see a singer on a stage, the biggest star, you've ever seen in a concert, it's not about the songs that they do. It's about when they go out on tour and they get on that open mic and they make connections with the fans through how they ad-lib, through how they change certain things in the song. This is where you make the real connection, so that's what it's all about, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great ethos, isn't it? So obviously, as fans, we've seen a lot of attention on OVW, certainly in recent years. I just wondered if you could sort of tell us, has OVW changed much since the whole Netflix series?
Yes, it's changed a lot since the Netflix series, in a lot of different ways. I would say the best change has been maybe if you were a part of that, and even if you weren't, but everybody that's there now, like, we very much have a locker room. You go to wrestling shows and you always hear about the locker room. Who's got a locker room? Maybe like WWE, AEW, TNA, NWA. I mean, they work like a couple times a month, but we're there every week, and then plus some, I think this month we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shows or something like that. So like, we spend a lot of time with each other. So, and then when the summer tour kicks up, I mean, it gets crazy, bro. Show after show after show. So we legit have a locker room at OVW, and our locker room has grown kind of as a family. We still fight, and there's so much tension at OVW right now. Like, right now, there's so much tension amongst the locker room, and it's because the company has like grown. it's grown, and we'll see if it continues to grow, but they've continued to make small pushes here and there. So like, you know, because I'm affiliated with the company, I kind of see what's going on a week to week basis, you know, and there's been a little bit of a changing of the guard, and things are shifting throughout the company. I'm about to be the man at OVW, you know, and that's just a fact because I earned that, you know. So like things are changing, and people that haven't been putting in the effort, like I said, I figured out a while ago how to kind of improve my life. And that started kind of when I got to OVW. I've gotten leaps and bounds better since then, working with Al and Doug Basham. They really have a good grip on what we do for a living and how to improve in that field and not just be a mark out there wrestling, you know, like for yourself. Like, hey man, I love being a wrestler. Watch me do some cool shit. Like, it's never been about that. It's always been about, like I said, getting the people off their feet and getting excited for what we do, going home with an authentic experience, something they could tell their family about, their friends. Like, hey, I saw this wrestling show. It was amazing. These guys are crazy. But they've helped me so much since I got there. And oh man, I'm rambling on. I'm losing it. What was the question?
That's fine. That sort of how much has OVW changed?
Okay, yes. So keep talking. Yeah, I got a lot to say about this. So like, you know, the guard has been changing because I've been putting in work and other guys have been putting in work. And now you see people are starting to like just get aggressive. Like people argue in the locker room, people having issues, you know. Everybody wants to know why they're not the guy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of reminds me of like they've always said about Shawn Michaels. I'm pretty sure he's the one that said it. Wrestlers have a bad habit of finishing their wrestling match and going straight to the back or the booker, the promoter, and saying, how did I do? Or another wrestler, how did I do? And in such an ego-driven business, it looks like it's all you want is a good job. You did good. So you can go and be like, I did good, you know.
Yeah.
And with so many egos involved in professional wrestling, oh my God, I forgot what I was going to say again, dude. Oh my gosh, you're gonna kill me, bro. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's no problem.
Tension in OVW, the locker room, guys wanting a response from like Al or whoever it is. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what I was saying.
No worry. Just sort of while we're in that area, and forgive the question, potentially it might be a difficult one to answer, but do you find it as someone who's been there sort of, you know, before the series and from the ground up, as it were, do you find it frustrating? Like now, there's people there who are like, well, you know, where's?
I mean, yeah.
Where's my spot? Where's my attention when they weren't there to help build that? Is that a frustrating thing for you as a sort of an OG, as it were?
It's not for me because, you know, I'm kind of coming up in that, and a lot of them look at me as new, you know, because I came to OVW right before Netflix started. You know, right before it started. And I didn't even know that they were doing a Netflix show. You know, I was just like, hey, if you guys can come here, you know, I can help make you guys stars. So we're like, okay, let's go. And then we kind of went through the process of all that, and people had to kind of learn me and get to know me. And I can be a bit abrasive at times. I keep to myself. I really don't talk that much, like in the locker room. I keep to myself for the most part. But, you know, people had to kind of ease me in, and I got so much better over time that, you know, sometimes you just have to accept people for what it is, you know?
Yeah.
And that kind of is what created that tension. I mean, at the end of the day, OVW, we have the best locker room. I love our locker room. I love all the guys in it. That's not what I'm saying, you know? There's just tension there because our company has grown, and now guys are looking for opportunities to kind of level up, and there's less and less of those. You know, you understand, like when you run a 2-hour television show, you think, wow, there's so much TV time. But then when angles get hot, segments get hot and they get long. So, you know, if I was having like an 8-minute match, you know, the week one, by the time we get to this March 16th pay-per-view, like I'm going to be having a 25-minute match. And then other angles are too. So then there will only be 5-6 matches on the whole card. And then you have segments in between, promos to kind of tell the story. So with so much going on, like it's created so many issues. And I was there when I saw, like when I got to OVW, sometimes there was 50 people in the crowd, you know?
Yeah.
Most times there was like between 75 and 125. You know, we'd have a real good house and it would be like 200, 250. We'd be like, oh shit, 250 people. Like, and it would be loud in there because the arena gets so fucking loud. You know, like even with 400 fans, it's so loud because of the size of it.
Of course,
And I've seen it go from that to where we've been selling out almost every week, all of our shows. Like we just did, our Thursday night show. We had a great crowd. There was probably over 300 there. Then we did our Friday show, which was an hour away in Lexington. We had like almost 600 people there and like a music hall, super loud, super awesome. Then our Sunday show, which was a little smaller, which is fine. It was a Sunday show. It was a tiny building, like 200 people pretty much filled it up. It was a house show. So it was great, and like we've just been able to like now we're supposed to be doing this national tour, which is going to be a big test for the company because they want to go to like Texas and Pennsylvania, Chicago, Tennessee, all these other places. And they don't know if we're going to draw or not. So I think it's going to be a test as a company because it can't all be on the talent to draw and it can't be all on the company to promote. There has to be like a certain level of combination there, and that's what will create success. And we fight about that all the time, talent and in the office. We're always like in a battle of like, you guys need to promote more. And they're like, you guys need to promote more. And I think that's a good thing because I think that's why we're still here. We're still alive 25 years later, man, however long OVW's been running, trying to walk in the footsteps of greatness, trying to follow behind the John Cenas, the Dave Batistas, the Randy Ortons, Shelton Benjamin. We won't even say the other guy's name because of everything going on, but he's the man too, like so many people have passed through the doors of OVW, and now to be working with an Al Snow, a 60-year-old man. He still looks great, moves weight great, and can wrestle like a machine.
I mean, he's crazy jacked.
Yeah. So I actually, not this past December, but the year prior, I got to step in the ring with Al at Dave Hero, which is Cal Hero's father's show, Blizzard Brawl. It's their big end of the year show. We had a big 5-on-5 match, and I got to get in the ring with Al and kind of started the match. And like, that was a dream for mine. And I really got to understand, awesome. Like, man, wrestling, what a business it is, because you have all these stars. I grew up like a John Cena fan, and and Eddie, I only saw Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho and Big Show and all these guys on TV. And I didn't know who Al Snow was, but now I work for him, and now I am a wrestler. And now I'm in the struggle of the business and the life of walking this path that we've chosen as wrestlers, and just to have somebody like that is like, it's a blessing. He's one of those guys. He didn't make all the money they made, so it's different because like it's different. It translates differently. But he has knowledge that some people never have in wrestling because he's been doing it so long, and he's in a coaching position, so he's constantly he watches the TV show every week and he critiques it every week. So he's like a madman in his head. He's like, I didn't like this week, and I didn't like the intricacies of pro wrestling are like so in depth, man. And like, that's where I feel like I stand out amongst other people that maybe you wouldn't see like just from watching me wrestle, but the way that I understand like storytelling and kind of how to put things together and like the psychology of it, which is very important. To me, I love like psychology and wrestling and stuff making sense, but I also love that it doesn't make sense because it's wrestling and it's not supposed to make sense. but so it's like, it's the blend of that. It's the blend of how you make your shit make sense and you make it make no sense at all. And that's the art. Because then people can laugh and they can be like, oh, because that would never happen. Like I bumped twice sometimes, When you ever seen a guy get in a fight, get up, get down, get up, get down, But the fans love it because it's all about entertainment value, man. I love entertainment.
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely. You're talking about kind of there's so many eyeballs on OVW at the minute, and you're like on a hell of a tear right now. You've just been fighting for the Kentucky Heavyweight Championship. You've been facing EC3 for the NWA title. You're front and center on the cover for March Mayhem. Like, what? Is there any? Do you feel the pressure? I guess of like there's so many eyes on the product right now, and you're right at the top of the card.
I felt the pressure when I wrestled EC3 for the NWA Championship. Definitely. Yeah, I felt the pressure that night. It was just the biggest match of my career, and I laugh about it because of what pro wrestling is. So many people telling me like, you've got the biggest match coming up, and I walk around the apartment with Leila, and I'm always like, my biggest match is coming up, biggest match ever. But in reality, it really was the biggest match ever, and it was the best match that I've had. Actually, it was the biggest and the best, which is what this is supposed to be. And that's all I wanted. So that day, like I almost talked to nobody, I just sit there, everybody, like, that's just how I am when I'm thinking about something. It was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm just like, going through scenarios in my head, playing things out, see how it's going to be. And yeah, I mean, I'm super upset that I didn't win the NWA championship, you know, and they could say, you know, professional wrestling is fake. You can say whatever you want to say about it, but you know, I believe this and I buy into this for the experience. And you know, there's a time in the match when I suplexed him. I did the Daniel Bryan gimmick, suplexed him, and I sat up in the corner and I did the flying headbutt. I do the flying headbutt. I do the crossface. It's funny. I don't even watch Daniel Bryan. I do all his shit. Do the right knee. I do the crossface. I do the diving headbutt. But we have some of the same inspirations, you know, as far as like who we watched. But the first time I started watching Daniel Bryan is when I had this little bit of like this turn to where I left this group and now I'm going to be the one facing EC3. And I'm thinking about stories in my head, like who's the guys that have come from like underdogs and like achieved something great. And I thought Daniel Bryan. So I watched like, you know, him and Randy Orton, you know, do work. And I learned so much about, you know, so much respect for someone like that and what they do. And, you know, to be able to take some of that and put it into my craft and like get great reactions, great responses, you know, take emotion. It was phenomenal. And I definitely felt it that day. And when I hit that diving headbutt, my point is when I hit that diving headbutt and he kicked out, I legit, you know, started to cry. I had tears in my eyes. And because I knew that I was not winning that fucking match, bro.
Yeah.
I knew that motherfucker was going to beat me. And that's what it's all about because I hit my best shit that I got in the fucking match and he kicked out. Yeah, so I knew I was not going to be the NWA champion that night. And that crushed me, you know, in that moment.
Yeah.
In that moment.
I love the finish as well, like with the German suplex and the fact that you technically had him, you know, it was great. I loved it.
I know. And he fucking kicked out right there, bro. It's like perfect timing. It was like 1, 2. And I'm like, and, you know, in his face, his emotionless face, like, I mean, dude, like, I hate him, bro.
But well, I mean, you know, that being said, obviously, as Carl mentioned there, you know, there's many who thought you had that match won, and you know, given EC3's recent comments, it seems there's a bit of unfinished business there. So I just wondered if you could say, like, you know, what does that mean for yourself and the Overmen going forward?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not with the Overmen anymore. As far as that goes, EC3. Look, bro. EC3 is a piece of shit, dude. Straight up. And he gets on my nerves, like for real. He talks a lot of shit. He runs his mouth a lot. I run my mouth a lot, but he runs his mouth to the masses because he has a big following, you know, and he puts all his stupid flowery language in there that his cult-like followers like to hear. And he runs his mouth. So EC3, honestly, dude, he really gets on my nerves. But the thing about him, dude, he's not an idiot. Like, it would be so much easier if he was like just an idiot, but he's pretty intelligent. Believe it or not, EC3 is kind of a smart guy, and he knows how to put himself in the right positions to get what he wants when he wants it, get where he needs to go. So, like, yes, I have unfinished business with him because I believe in my mind I'm winning that NWA World's Championship. You know what I mean? Like I said, like people can say that pro wrestling is fake, but it's real for me. Like I told all the fans that night, I said, yo, this is real, bro. And I'm taking that guy's championship. I'm going to finish my story. Right. So I'm going to win that NWA championship, but he's not going to give me a rematch. Not like that. You know, like that's just how I look at it. Like for me, like I don't even know if I'll wrestle him again for that championship. Honest to God. I don't even know if I'll get the title opportunity for the NWA championship. I really don't know. Like, I know that he would probably, if I wrestle him again, it would probably be for the OVW championship or something like that. But he's not just going to give me a match anyway. Like, he's not going to give me a match. Like, it's not going to work like that, bro. I'm going to have to do something else to like get the match with EC3, you know?
Yeah.
So like, well, I mean, at TV, we have March Mayhem coming up. I'm the only guy on the flyer. It's probably because, like, you know, I don't know, man, because I'm the shit, like I said. But you know, I'm gonna go out and on TV this week, and I'm gonna, you know, they said they put the flyer. I'm making an appearance, whatever that means. I don't know what that means, but I'm pretty much gonna go out there with the microphone, and I'm gonna tell the people what my next plan is. And I do have a plan. And I do think that I'll be able to get back to EC3. I just don't know in what capacity. And that's the thing about it. And, you know, and like when I sit here and I tell you, like, he really gets on my nerves, like, I'm being honest, because like to get another, like, it's great that he gave me the NWA title opportunity, but to get another one, we'll see. I'll like it more if I get another NWA championship match, but we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely deserve one.
I mean,
so,
that's listen, we can say it right now on camera. Hey, Ethan, if you're listening, that is the best match that you will have as NWA champion. Hands down. There will not be a better match for that NWA championship until it's off of his ass on somebody else. That was the best one. Unless he has another one with me, then that would be better, maybe. But that's it. Ain't nobody coming out here and putting on matches like that, bro. Not today. Yeah. Not selling, not working. Like, man.
That's the clip right there.
That's the clip. That's the clip. So I've got to ask as well. Obviously, we talked a lot about OVW. We've also seen you, obviously in AEW a little bit, and also in Ring of Honor recently as well. I'm just curious what have those experiences been like, and you kind of talk about like the differences in the locker room in like OVW. Does it feel like a different experience in the other promotions?
Well, only because like, okay, so like, you know, I've done some, the most recent thing would be like maybe the Jericho cruise, which I didn't wrestle on the cruise, but all the boys are there and I know everybody. So like we're mingling and stuff like that. But I love working for AEW. You know, it's a great experience. The only difference in like locker rooms is I'm the person they're investing in OVW and AEW, you know, I'm an extra or whatever I am for the night. So it's just a different, I'm not in the locker room. I'm there, but I'm not like in the locker room with the boys like, hey, what up, you know? So like at OVW, you know, it's my locker room, you know, so I police the locker room. It goes how I go. So if people don't like it, you know, we got to come up to each other and we figure it out ourselves. But I love AEW. I love working with all those guys. The locker room is great, man. Great. There's so many people there to get like knowledge from. Like I'm a huge Jerry Lynn fan. When I started out early on in the business, I went to a seminar of his. It was one of the first ones I ever went to. So I've had a connection with him since then. So, you know, seeing a guy like Jerry Lynn getting the knowledge and stuff like that's phenomenal. You know, Paul White. I mean, come on, man. Paul White, Mark Henry. I mean, these are all dudes that have also come through OVW, you know? So like the connection is always there. And like, just so like, you know, they always have knowledge and they're always willing to give it down. And it's a great company. Yeah. The more wrestling, the better. And like the Jericho cruise was a great experience for everybody, like fans and wrestlers alike, but really for fans and really for the business to kind of just bring together wrestling and rock and roll and, you know, the bubble, you know, we're in the wrestling bubble. Anything we could do to kind of get out of it is a good thing. That's why stuff like Jackass at WrestleMania is a good thing. That's why Logan Paul is a good thing. That's why all this corny stuff is a good thing and it's a necessary evil, you know, because we got to keep this going, right? Or else we wouldn't be having these interviews if it wasn't for like growth and stuff. So we got to keep it, you know, the way it's supposed to be a closed business, man. It's supposed to be something that's policed by us, for us. It's gone a little bit away from that now that, you know, there's so many big investors and companies involved that, you know, want a piece of wrestling. Even OVW, bro, we got new investors and they're new investors. You know, they're not wrestlers, you know, and which is good because you talked about the growth in OVW. They remodeled the locker room. So many things have like changed. They've better cameras, and we still have growth to do, but they've upgraded a lot around the building already and helped to make our lives easier and just help streamline things. And they've dumped a lot of money into the company, you know. Since Netflix and Netflix, you know, gave us the opportunity for some new investors. And you never know, man. Somebody else might watch this wrestler show in a few years and they might come want to buy OVW. Like that's the thing about Netflix. Like it ain't ever going anywhere, man. People are going to be watching the show. Like, so
but no, it's true. So obviously, aside from yourself absolutely killing it at the minute, your fiance Leila Grey has also become the OVW Women's Champion. So I just wanted to talk for a second on sort of how proud you are of everything she's doing right now, both in OVW and Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I mean, so you know, Leila, that's her 4th time becoming the champ at OVW, 4-time women's champion. That's probably the most out of all the girls there. I've been a 5-time champion at OVW. Not to like throw that in her face, but we've only been at OVW for a couple years, you know, and like just to like we weren't expecting that at all. And to see her do it has been has been phenomenal. I mean, you know, when we got to OVW, you know, Al put the title on her right away, and she was nervous. She was like, I'm not ready for this, you know, but Al was able to, you know, see what she needed and help pull that out of her. And I'm always happy for her, man. Like, you know, she's like the reason that I do this. You know, very, very motivational, very key part of my life. Obviously, like without her, you know, there would be no certified Luke Kurtis, like straight up.
Yeah.
Like that's just what it is at the end of the day. So, you know, all the glory goes to Leila Grey. She's the best. And I'm happy she's the 4-time OVW women's champion. I hope that there's more to come for her, a lot more to come, you know?
Yeah.
And I hope that, you know, in due time, you know, she gets a better spot on Ring of Honor or AEW. She's able to climb up the roster, whatever that is for her, or whatever it's going to be for her. I hope it's going to be great, which I know it is, because, you know, she's a New Yorker. She's a hustler. She's the one that put it in me to want to, you know, better my life, because she's constantly bettering hers. So she's a star, dude. She's one of the biggest stars in professional wrestling. They just might not know it yet, you know. And I mean just stars in general. Like, she can act, she could sing, you know, she got a degree, she could broadcast. She went to school for like media and broadcasting. Like, she could do it all, bro. So, you know, you could put her backstage with a microphone tomorrow and she'd be one of the best backstage girls there are. You could put her in a movie tomorrow. She can act, she could sing. Like I said, she could do it all. She's very, very, very talented. And it'll all come through when the time is right, you know. We're building.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. Like when you talk about it, you guys have literally only been doing this for like what, 3 years or something. It's insane how good you both are, and you know how quickly you've gotten so good. What's kind of been the main driving force, do you think, behind how quickly you've got this business and how good you are so soon?
Yeah, it's exactly what I told you earlier, and that's always my answer, is that I was a drug addict for a long time before this. And everybody that gets in wrestling, they say they take it seriously. I'm here to tell you they don't. And that's it. Yeah. Like, just guys, I take it very serious, bro. Like, it's not like a fun, you know, wrestling is stressful for me a lot of the times, you know, like this business is stressful. Like, this is my job. You know, I take this way more serious than most guys. You know, when I get off of this with you, I'll probably go sit on the toilet and go to the bathroom and watch a wrestling match, you know, and that's the difference. You know, like everything is wrestling. It's always me trying to get better, do better, get involved in acting so I can be better at wrestling, whatever it's going to be, you know. So I take the business very serious. And me and Leila have each other to push each other. We're always in competition with each other. We have a healthy competition, to where like we don't ever talk about, you know, I'll talk about it, but we want to at least keep up with each other and whatever it is. So that's always been our goal, you know. So we've been, you know, fighting each other to build each other up to grow to something great. And I think that's like where we're headed, and that's been just the perfect combination for us. So I always tell people, man, if you want to be a good wrestler, you just got to take it serious, dude. Like, that's it. It's just a matter of what you're willing to give. It really is. And I'm willing to give like everything, bro. Like, I'll give it all. So that's why.
Yeah. No, you can really sort of feel the passion you have for the business and everything you say, to be fair. I know you touched on before the bodybuilding side of things. So I think, you know, we have to talk about what incredible shape you're in at the moment. And just wonder if you could talk to us a little bit about your fitness journey and what it's been like over the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I'm about to get in really good shape, Leila and I, because we're competing in our first bodybuilding show in August. So we've been working with a coach for like probably about 8 months now, like a bodybuilding coach. Before we were just wrestlers trying to have better physiques, and we weren't really on a regimen, you know. Once we got working with a coach, I have like, he's like my Al Snow of bodybuilding. I got an old guy, he's like 60 years old, and he trains me how to be a bodybuilder, you know. Like Al says, like true experience, man, he has a very specific way of saying it. Al says true experience is or true knowledge is time spent performing it and experience time. Al's got this great saying on what true knowledge is, and it's basically the amount of time you put into it, and like you doing it over time creates true knowledge. So like an Al Snow, true knowledge, he's been applying wrestling techniques for 40 years to figure out what works. That's real knowledge. I can't just come in tomorrow and be like, I like to act like I know about wrestling. I know a little bit, but I can't tell you about big WWE moments with millions of dollars on the line in front of 50,000 people. That's Roman Reigns, you know. That's an experience that he's been able to create, and he'll be able to sell that and work off that. The Rock, these guys, you know. So that's basically what Al says about like experience and true knowledge. So I have that for bodybuilding. I got an older guy that helped me get in shape. So, you know, right now we're getting bigger. But like, you know, pretty soon we're going to be cutting all this weight off, and in August we're going to be, you know, I like to call it dick skin shredded. You know, you're going to see all the veins, all the cuts. We're going to be, you know,
love it.
So August we're going to be like shredded to the bone, and then next year we'll get a little bigger, and then we'll go right back to it. So, you know, it's just I want to get out of the wrestling bubble a little bit and kind of get into something else. And they go hand in hand. And I feel like that's something that I just never want people to be like, oh, you know, why they would say not me. Like, why would you not hire me? You know, so like I'm always trying to find ways to make sure that's not a case. So I'm gonna go become a pro bodybuilder, you know, and there's not a lot of pro bodybuilders in wrestling. And then, you know, I love bodybuilding now that I started it in the same way that I love wrestling. Like, I want to be an Olympian, you know, so like I've already found my second passion. So I know that I'm gonna make so much money off of fitness, you know, in the same way that's going to happen with wrestling. So that's what I say. I hope that I can bring what I do to a big platform one day, you know, the biggest one there is, because I'm going to have so many facets and things that I do in life and different ways to inspire people. Like, you know, I've always looked at it like, you know, the John Cena, Batista, The Rock, but really like The Rock and Cena, and I feel like Cody Rhodes is on that way. Like, these guys are like the foundation for like what I want in my life. You know, like a John Cena, like he's funny, he wrestled, and he became an actor. You know, it all kind of like the path is there. Like OVW, WWE, Hollywood. Like, it's not impossible. You know, The Rock showed that like you can come into something and you can take that and you can run and become something great. So like, I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of those guys. You know, that's my goal. So we'll see where it comes. And like, what an honor to be a John Cena and be able to like be in Hollywood or The Rock, and also be in wrestling and be able to like, look at all the moments you created, bro. How the fuck is the guy, John Cena was my favorite wrestler as a kid, and then I'm watching him as an adult laughing my ass off in a movie like on Hulu, you know, where he's doing coke and with a crazy girlfriend or whatever he's doing. He's an actor now. Like, it's great. Like, it's great. And and like, how many people has someone like that inspired? How many people has someone like that brought to wrestling? You know, like, man, think about the fans that The Rock and John Cena and like a Logan Paul bring to like what we do, you know, just so people are like, WWE, look at the Snoop Dogg belt going around now. The WWE, you've seen that, right? On Instagram.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah,
it is everywhere at the moment.
Come on, man. Like, a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see like that, you know.
Damn right,
like, even though, you know, they're going to come in and try to, you know, change wrestling, but, you know, the fans will never let them. But, you know, we just, that O'Shea Jackson stuff. Like, we won't even talk about that. Let's keep
going. Obviously, you kind of mentioned like the linear journey almost of like OVW to WWE to Hollywood kind of thing, and we saw that you mentioned on another interview previously that Triple H has kind of looked at you in the past like a piece of candy, I think was the quote.
Oh yeah, Tom. That line.
Yeah, but obviously we saw you kind of visiting the WWE headquarters and that recently. So I've just got to ask, is WWE about to get certified in the future?
Hopefully, man. I mean, they know me very well, dude. It's not like I can't say like, yeah, I'm going to WWE tomorrow, because I'm not, but I might be. You never know, man. Like, it's really just this. I was taught. Here's a good thing that EC3 taught me. I'll give you one good thing about that piece of crap, EC3. He said, there's 3 things in wrestling. There's right place, wrong time. Wrong place, right time. And right place, right time. And that's the only one that works, you know? So that's just a matter of that. I know so many guys at WWE. I know WWE superstars. Like I said, Triple H looked at me like a piece of candy a bunch of times. Like, they know who I am, bro. They have Netflix. Like, they know who Certified is. I'm loud enough. I talk enough. to where they have a good idea of who I am. But it's a matter of, I'm not there. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I am ready because I know I could do the job, but you are where you're exactly where you're supposed to be in life. I believe that. You are where you're supposed to be, and I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. And maybe that will change in the future. I'm going to keep working as hard as I can to make sure it does. But I'm not going to rush the process. I learned that life is about the journey, not the destination. I really believe that. I believe that to be true. It's about me and you sitting here talking right now on A2 the K Wrestling podcast.
Nice.
That's what life is about. It's the journey of becoming certified Luke Kurtis. Maybe one day you do see me in Hollywood, maybe something like that. It's about this moment though. Like that, it's never going to be about the destination, because like I said before, like I'm never satisfied with the outcome of things, whether they're good or bad. If I won the NWA championship from EC3, I wouldn't have been happy because I'm not the WWE champion, and that's just how it is, because I set the bar very high for myself. So for me, it's not about where I'm going. It's kind of about how I'm getting there, so I'm just in the car, enjoying the ride, trying to do the greatest things I can possibly do.
Love it. Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about the journey, with us being Brits, I just wondered if you had any chance to sort of come over to the UK before and interact with the UK fans.
Oh, I haven't yet, man, but I've been trying to recently. I have my passport. I really want to come out there and wrestle. I just got to make the right connections. That's a big part of it. I'm trying to do some international stuff now. I hope that maybe if I can do some other stuff, it'll help get over there. But I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see. You guys got any recommendations?
Oh yeah, we can do some hookups. We'll send a few messages to some local promotions by us, definitely.
Yeah.
So I suppose, obviously, just lastly from us, I mean, again, thank you so much for taking the time, but you kind of talk about kind of not like the destination necessarily isn't the important part. It's almost like the journey. So I'm just kind of curious, what does the journey sort of look like for you over the next kind of 6 to 12 months, do you think?
Wow. 6 to 12 months. I know that I'll be in contention for one of these big OVW titles. I know that I am going to win one of those big titles soon, because that's just the way that this works out. I'm a 5-time champion for a reason, bro. Like a lot of guys been there a long time. Like my career, I've been trying to prove for a long time that I'll do whatever it takes to win. I'll do whatever it takes to win. I will, I'll fake an injury. I've done all these different finishes, creative finishes that I've come up with to kind of prove to people that I could beat anybody. I always believe, like, because I'm not the biggest guy, I'm big enough, but I'm not the biggest guy. Like, I need to be like, oh, well, I can do this to win. I could cheat, dirtiest player in the game. That's what it's all about. So I've been kind of trying to build that up for myself. So I know that I'm going to win one of the major titles at OVW soon. And then as far as wrestling goes, I don't know, because I spent a lot of time the past couple of years climbing the roster with OVW. I started out as a Rush Division guy, bottom of the roster, dude, and I'm gonna become the heavyweight champ or the OVW national champ before you know it. I climbed up into heavyweight contention. I'm the only guy on the flyer now. When I came in there, I was in scramble matches with 6 people, So I've learned how to do that. And then once I win this title, and if the company doesn't continue to grow, the way I would like to see it grow, like, I have to figure out what's going to be next for me, because I'm getting close. I'm getting close to achieving everything that I can achieve at OVW, and that's how I look at it. So, once I become the heavyweight champ at OVW and then I become the national champion, it becomes a matter of like, what's next for me? Is OVW going to be something that can provide the future that I'm looking for? Or am I going to have to figure out where I'm going to go next and how I'm going to leverage what I've done and what I've earned to get where I need to go, in my next venture? And I also have my bodybuilding competition coming up. So that's going to be huge for Leila and I. That's like in 6 months. And we're going to be figuring out that whole process and getting involved in that community. And it's a whole nother field, a whole nother industry of people, not massively big, because, it's unique in the way that not everybody could be a bodybuilder, but they all know each other. So like, to get integrated in that and kind of see where that takes us and how everything kind of ties together, it's going to be it's going to be a good experience. So I don't know exactly what is going to happen for me. I don't know where I'll be by the end of this year. You know, everybody says to me all the time, like, you're getting signed this year, you're getting signed this year. But they said that shit last year too. But everybody says, like, you're getting signed this year. You know, I hate when they say that, because that's just not how wrestling is. You know, I tell people all the time, they're like, why do you say that? Why do you say that? I'm like, it's not like that, bro. Like, it's not just like I'm getting signed this year because I'm good enough. Like, yeah, no shit, I'm good enough. But that's not really the point, you know? So I don't know what's next. It's all I know is that, like, I'm going to keep improving my life, and I'm going to try to blow the certified shit up as big as I can. And hopefully I have a big company one day. I'll have Certa everything, you know, whatever you could put behind Certa, I'll have it.
Absolutely. I mean, we can't wait to see. We know there's even bigger things in your future. You're, killing it right now. We can't wait to see what the future holds. But thank you so much for taking the time. Before we let you go, just let everyone know how they can keep up to date with, obviously, yourself, your socials, your YouTube channel, and everything else you've got kind of going on.
Yeah, guys. So the best way to follow me is Instagram, Certified Luke Kurtis, TikTok, Certified Luke Kurtis, Facebook, Certified Luke Kurtis. Everywhere I'm Certified Luke Kurtis, YouTube. Twitter's the only one where I'm different, because you can't have as many, so it's Certified LK. Yeah. But regardless, just go on Google, type in Certified Luke Kurtis. Everything's gonna come up. Go on Pro Wrestling Tees, get a Certified Luke Kurtis shirt, or see me at a show, get a Certified Luke Kurtis shirt. That's the best way to support. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Follow me on my socials, subscribe to my YouTube. I'm trying to grow my YouTube. I already hit that halfway monetization mark. So let's get me 1,000 subscribers and get me monetized, baby. I post all my wrestling matches on there. So if you want to see you know, kind of where I've been going through, my NWA World's title match with EC3 is on there. I have a really good cage match with Blanco Loco. Just look for the one of me inside the cage. It's like 20 minutes of chaos. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you ever see a guy in a hood named Venganza, tell him he owes me money. Yeah, so pretty much it.
Awesome. I love it. Awesome. Thank you so much again for taking the time.
Guys.